It is July 25th, 2017. This is the Watchman News, and I'm Mike Callahan. So, obviously, the other day we had a big ordeal, I should say over the past weekend, involving a prison or a jail facility in St. Louis, well, in the St. Louis area. They commonly call it the workhouse. And so there was quite a bit of outrage over the living conditions as far as the heat in the prison. I spoke about it. I've tweeted it out. I've made comments and whatnot on it. But this is the first time I'm actually making a report on it, and it's not so much that I'm actually reporting on the St. Louis as much. So bear with me. The ordeal in St. Louis is apparently at least underway of being fixed. Yesterday, I had watched live video of KMOV's helicopter flying over the area and showing that there were workers there installing air conditioners in the facility. And the comments were horrific. Absolutely horrific. I cannot believe the lack of compassion just in a generalization in this country. It's very, very bothersome. And I realize a lot of these folks are keyboard warriors, and their attitude in your face and their attitude behind a computer monitor are probably two totally different and opposite things. I get that. Lots of keyboard warriors, lots of keyboard geniuses. But, you know, a lot of these people, you know, when they come out of their mom and dad's basement, they pretty much don't say a whole lot, right? And no, I'm not saying they're all, I know I gave a stab there, but still, let's be realistic with this. Tired of not being realistic. I'm tired of people changing truth to fit what they want, changing history to fit what they want, changing everything to fit what they want. Because in the end, guess what? All you did was waste your time and anybody else's time that you wasted along with them. Pretty simple. And it's sad. It's really, really sad. We shouldn't expect, you know, we should know, especially this group should know, that just because somebody is sitting behind bars does not make them guilty. If anybody should understand that, it should be this crowd. So, I don't see how it is in any way okay, even to treat somebody that is truly guilty in torturous, literally torturous conditions. Right? Well, among the comments on KMOV's Facebook video that they had posted, and I think I read some of them, I think, maybe yesterday. If I didn't, I apologize. But a lot of them included, oh, my boyfriend, and my husband, and well, my grandma, and it's always deflection, and it's always dismissal, and it's always, well, but. Because it's real easy to say well and but it's not so easy to put yourself in the shoes of somebody that is being tortured. Right? I mean, I thought we had to have a big debate about whether or not we were going to torture terrorists that we caught. Right? A big ordeal down in Guantanamo Bay, and all this stuff involved with it, the torture, whether it be in a sexual manner that had came out, or whether it be the waterboarding, or what, you know, there was a big debate, and there was outrage. There was outrage that we were treating terrorists like that. And I'm not saying my position on that at all. That's not what I'm doing. That's not my point here. Well, my point here is maybe you got a little room to wiggle when it comes to a true terrorist, but there is no room when it comes to somebody that's simply locked up because they had a joint that they were in possession of, or they couldn't pay their, you know, running the stop sign ticket. Right? They deserve torture for that? Really? Wow. I'm going to be in for some real hell then, I guess. Wow. So anyway, I spoke about this, and Steve Engel had sent me a link today. And I seen that link, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is awesome. Not awesome that they're dealing with these conditions, but you're going to see by the headline alone just how the tables have turned on this. Because many of the comments talked about, some of them, my husband works in the Department of Corrections and he has to deal with the heat, so I should blah, 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 blah. Stuff like that makes me sick. It really does. It makes me nauseous. People don't think a damn bit about somebody else or their condition or their position or their situation at all. Nothing. It's whatever fits them or not. And that is not the way we need to be living. That's how we all fail. That's how we all fall. That's how all the past civilizations and stuff, Rome, that's how they fell. Because the people didn't care about each other. They were squeezed in one way or another so much that the only thing that there was left for them to even think that they had the least bit of control over. And they really didn't. And that's where we stand today. That's where we stand today. And it's not going to get any better until we start thinking about the less fortunate, until we start thinking about individuals that are, for instance, behind bars for stupidity, even beyond stuff like marijuana laws and stuff like that. What about Joe Robertson, right? Joe Robertson, veteran. I throw that out there because he's a respectable veteran. You can't throw the veteran out there and be disrespectful. Like when it went on between Gavin and that veteran about the flag and all. No, you can't. You got to pick one, right? You can't just throw out that title, that tag out there and demand respect on that basis alone, right? Who knows? That guy could have went and molested 10 kids or killed 15 people. Right? Are we still supposed to respect them because they've got veteran status? Time we grow up, folks. I'm a big supporter of veterans. I'm a big supporter of our military and our troops. But I'm also a supporter of reality and honesty. And, we have to stop throwing a label and then all of a sudden just blanketing everything with that one label we throw out there because that makes it so easy and convenient. It's like living life like a microwave, right? Instant gratification from everything. Mostly our mouths. And, that's what's led us where we are. And that's why it's such a struggle to make any headway here. But anyway, that's off on a different tangent, and I apologize. What I wanted to point out, though, was different people that had mentioned, well, my boyfriend, my husband, blah, 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 they work in, Department of Corrections, blah, 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 what about them, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what about them? Fast forward to El Dorado prison, and this story was published on the 24th, yesterday. Corrections officers call heat unbearable inside El Dorado prison. So I would have to ask that lady that I'm seeing in my head that responded about how her boyfriend or whatever worked in the Department of Corrections and blah, 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 blah. What about him? Well, this is what about him. Right here. There's the answer to her question. And I am convinced that this story wouldn't be seen by us right now if it wouldn't have been for the St. Louis story. And I hope that we see stories like this pop up nationwide. Because this directly has to do with what was going on with the incarceration of the Bundys and with the torture and the treatment of Ammon and Ryan and all the other guys. It's directly in line with it. That's what they're trying to do. They were in Pahrump, right? Out there in a desert, camping out, right? To raise awareness to prison abuse. To raise awareness to prison abuse. So I would recommend that while the prisons are in the limelight, that we try to get all of this stuff out there and educate as many people about the truth of what's going on in our country. Because let's face it, this is nothing but a money-making scheme. This is nothing but a slavery scheme. Let's not put any pretty labels on it and make it look all nice and, justified. All right? Because it's not. Most of the people that are in there aren't in there for crimes they really need to be in there for. So anyway, let's go ahead and read the article. El Dorado, Kansas. Employees at El Dorado Correctional Facility are calling temperatures inside parts of the prison unbearable. Many parts of the Kansas reached out, I'm reading things that aren't there. Many parts of Kansas reached or broke record temperatures over the weekend, and there's another heat wave on the way. One prison guard says the heat is so bad it makes it tough to go to work. The high temperature in El Dorado Saturday reached 106 degrees. One prison guard who didn't want to be identified, I wonder why, because that blue line would turn on him. Let's see, says it's at least 10 to 15 degrees hotter inside. Something that can compromise safety and makes an already tough job even more difficult. Not only that, but the thing of it is when you're in that type of heat, it's a very frustrating thing, right? So you're going to have more fights. You're going to have a lot more issues if there's heat. I'm telling you. All you got to do is go look at police blotters across the country, winter versus summer, and you'll see it real quick. Let's see. As July temperatures soar, so does the heat inside parts of the El Dorado prison. Some of the cell houses get very unbearable in this heat, said one guard who asked not to be identified. And this summer, the heat is breaking records. You get triple digits outside, you can add another 10 to 15 degrees inside, the guard said. Multiple employees tell Eyewitness News temperatures in parts of the prison have reached 120 degrees. Now, what was that about the 8th Amendment? The corrections officer who agreed to speak with us anonymously says it's nothing new. That's just the way the place is built. You're talking about nothing but concrete and steel, and it gets hot. And the showers turn on, and it just doubles the heat, the guard said. But this year, the prison is working through problems like being short-staffed, longer shifts for employees, and unruly inmates. The corrections officers say the suffocating heat has only added to tensions, which is what I was saying a bit ago. The other thing I want to point out here is them like saying that it's nothing new and whatnot. Folks, this is obviously I'm sure this is an issue nationwide, and I hope that this is just the second of hundreds of stories that we're going to be hearing soon. That's what it takes. It takes that one to step forward, okay? And it's the same with us. It's the same with us and this government. It takes that one to step forward. And I know there are individuals, including Ammon himself, that made that step forward. But do you know why we're at a standstill as patriots, as citizens, as the caretakers of our country? We're at a standstill because the next guy is afraid to take Ammon's place because they're looking at what's happening to Ammon. That's their intent. That was the whole intent on assassinating Lavoie. They were trying to make a point. They were trying to intimidate us. Wait a minute. That sounds like the actual definition of terrorism. Temperatures get hot. Tempers get short, he said. 12-hour shifts, it's rough. Now, and that's what gets me too, right? We have like the largest prison population in the world, right? And that is increasing at an alarming rate. So, why can't they afford to put more security to be able to better handle the situation and maintain things if they get sticky. Oh, yeah. Got to maximize profits. But I thought it was a correctional facility. I didn't know that it was a hotel, a business. That's all it is, folks. It's a business. Employees say the heat problem is isolated to the east side in cell house G. One employee said in a text message, "There's only one cell house left online that does not have climate control. It gets to 120. I know because we used to have we used to have to monitor it. If I know I got to be on that side, I hate getting dressed in the afternoon," the anonymous guard said. He says the overwhelming temperatures mean sometimes safety gear gets left behind. They try to get us to wear our protective vests, but in those cell houses, it's just unbearable, and you can't do it. Not for 12 hours, 16 hours a day, he said. This is getting me. This is really, really getting me. It really is. Folks, we're in this together. And when I say folks, I'm including those that can consider themselves as part of this thin blue mob gang. Okay? You're in this with us. Whether you realize it now or not, you're in this with us. And, well, do what you will. But we're all in the same boat together. And while you're poking holes trying to sink it, and we're trying to get people to slow down on poking the holes, and the ship is still sinking, they're going after your pensions too. In many cases have already done so. You think you're in a different club than us? You're not. It's imaginary. It was put there for you. Not for you, by the way. It was actually put there for all of us, right? I would ask anybody that doesn't see what's coming, doesn't get it, right? I would really highly suggest that you pick up a history book. I would really highly suggest you see what happened to many, many, many of the individuals that did the enforcement for Hitler. Go look at what happened to them. A good majority of them were either killed by, their buddies, or they were indicted later on, or charged later on, or whatever, in the Nuremberg trials. So, think what you want. Do what you want. But I've got multiple instances in history to back up my words, and all you've got is an imaginary gang. Work together, folks. Together. If we don't, it's going to get ugly. I don't want this. I'm just here. I'm just an observer, right? That's all I am. By now, people should know that I'm about the furthest thing from an instigator. In fact, I'm trying to de-escalate, not escalate. But I'm not going to sit here and lie and cherry-coat things, and no, I'm not. I'm not. Your gang is made up. It's make-believe. And you probably won't understand that until those that, you think you're in the club with, turn on you too. Look in history. It's happened time and time and time again. Not that hard. It's just a book. Words. Right? Maybe an hour of your time. Maybe give up one of your NCIS shows or something. And, read it. I don't know. I don't know what law enforcement watches. I have no clue. It's not gonna. It's just not gonna work the way they're trying to hammer and nail it right now. It's not. But anyway, let me continue with the story. I apologize. Man, it's going to be a ranty week. I have a feeling. The guard says he hopes for change, but doesn't expect any soon. We have to do our job whether we're sweating to death or not. We have to protect our inmates. We're here to protect them and the society, the guard said. Wow. Wow. Imagine that. A guard that knows what he's there to do. Employees say the inmates do have fans in their cells and unlimited access to ice. Eyewitness News reached out to the state and prison for response. Corrections Secretary Joe Norwood said in a statement the KDOC has the utmost concern, I'm giving you time to laugh, for the health and well-being of both staff and offenders of all of its facilities. The state says east side cell temperature are controlled by fans and outside air, while west side cells are controlled by water chill system. Apparently here's the response, the full response from the KDOC. DD Joe Norwood said KDOC is the utmost concern for the health and well-being of both staff and offenders at all of its facilities. The west side of the facility cell houses are temperature controlled by a water chill system. The east side cell houses are controlled by outside air. They have barrel fans in each living pod day room. Air temperature monitoring is conducted in the inmate living units to ensure safety of the offenders. Each cell has an indigent fan. If the offender cannot afford his own fan, the cell windows can be opened to allow fresh air to accommodate airflow into the cell area. Offenders are also permitted to acquire ice from large ice machines in the day room area of each pod. Except for those with restrictions, offenders spend 9 hours a day out of their cells, spending much of this time in the day room. And that came from Todd Fertig, the Director of Communications, Kansas Department of Corrections. So I'll put the link down in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. But this is a great step. This really is. This is an amazing, wonderful step that now we have individuals that actually have enough of a conscience, right, to speak out and say, hey, this is bad here too. And I hope we see it across the country. I really do. I really, really do. Folks, this is wrong. All of it is wrong. I don't really know what else to say with it. You can't torture people over this idiocy, right? I mean, again, and what I'm speaking of is, people that are in there because they had a joint, or people that committed a traffic violation, or multiple ones and couldn't pay for it, or because people do go to prison for that, not just jails. Yeah. Oh, but there's no debtors' prisons in the United States. Debtors' prisons are illegal. Yeah, right. Tell that to every single person incarcerated right now because they could not afford their fines. Which, well, there's a lot of things that need to be changed. Like I've said many times, we need to flush this, not get rid of it. I think the Constitution, the Declaration, all that is a great founding of a country. And I think what I would do is I would literally strip absolutely everything back to the bare Constitution, with the exception of the civil rights amendments that were added. Right? Let's not move backwards. That's a positive move. When they started taking care of the civil rights issues, that was a great move. That's a positive move. That's wonderful. We don't need to back off that. We don't need to start over. Let's learn from our mistakes and carry on from there. And the only way we're going to do that, folks, is to flush the toilet. It's the only way we're going to do it. I don't mean flush everything, right? We're not just jackhammering a big hole into the floor and dumping the whole toilet down it, right? We're just flushing it. We're refreshing the water. So, you know, and hopefully maybe get rid of some of the smell. But that's essentially where we stand. And that's the only way it's going to get fixed. We got to not start over, but we have to refresh the Tree of Liberty. We have to refresh it with new people. Maybe add, another lesson that we learned, like term limits to congressmen, congresspersons. You know, I mean, what we're doing is not working. And expecting that, you know, anybody is going to fix it is more insane than my worst bit of insanity. Which is wow. No, but thinking that it's going to fix itself, or they're going to fix it, or, you know, they're going to reign, and that's crazy talk. It's crazy talk. It's up to us. Let's make this a better world for all of us, right? Not just the ones that are involved in gangs, not just the ones that are involved in monopolistic businesses, not just the ones that are involved in our sadistic government. All of us. All of us. That's what they don't want. Because the more comfortable we are, the more confident we are, and the stronger we are. And I've said it a million times. That's the reason why they're molesting people at airports. I'm calling it what it is. They molest people. They don't search them. They don't make sure they molest them. Let's be real about this. And all the other things that are going on in this country, it's to demoralize us. All the family pets getting shot and killed. Pick up a history book. Pick up a history book. It's not the first time that these things have been done. Look at Nazi Germany. Just being able to grab somebody and strip search them right there in public pretty much was something that they did commonplace. Okay? And believe me, it's pretty close to that. The TSA. It's pretty close to that. I mean, not necessarily stripping you down nude in front of everybody, but patting you down, feeling you up, groping you, sexually assaulting you, essentially, in front of your peers, in front of other citizens. Do you realize how demoralizing that is? It's for a reason. For the same reason they did it in Nazi Germany. So, it's up to you. What do you want to do? You want to be a slave? Or do you want to stand in front of the big ditch while we wait for them to shoot us while our bodies fall inside?